There's a lot of discussion these days about China and the United States and to whom the 21st century will belong. Will it be a continuation of the American century, or will it become the Chinese century or the Asian century? I believe very strongly that China will not overtake the United States. And I think that our media underplays the weaknesses in China and the strengths in the United States. The number one thing is demographics. 57% of all children in China are boys. They literally have a policy of either sex selection and abortion or, at worst, infanticide of girl babies. That's going to produce a tremendously aged population with relatively fewer children and demographics that are just terrible for a country. China will find itself with way too few working people and way too many older people. I think, secondly, China still has a huge state sector. Think of the bankrupt parts of General Motors that were spun off in the bankruptcy and now exist as a defunct corporation, producing nothing, earning nothing, but still existing. Well, those kinds of companies, state-owned companies, some which produce stuff but very inefficiently without any real growth, account for more than a third, and some say as much as a half, of China's economy. They're subsidized by the state, and they're really welfare projects. The only reason they exist is to grant employment to workers who are producing, for the most part, either products that could be made or produced much more efficiently by the private sector, or which just aren't needed or used in the first place. In addition, a large portion of China is still in subsistence farming. There's been a large influx to the cities and to the productive manufacturing areas, but the subsistence farming still exists all over the place. The other problem is that while China has proven to be a tremendous export generator, most of the companies are foreign-owned, many by the United States or United States investors. 3/4 of the high-tech exports of China are done by companies that are foreign-owned, and half of all exports from China are produced by companies that are foreign-owned. So China is kind of a labor force, not really an industrial center in the way Japan was. Japan succeeded because it innovated on its own. China really has very little in the way of innovation. It basically relies on stealing from the United States and stealing our product designs. And no matter how proficient they are at industrial espionage, it can't nearly take the place of ingenuity and creativity. Ultimately, the big problem is China's not free. And with a system of no freedom and no democracy spawns corruption, because official favoritism is everything. And it ultimately does not have a legitimate base. Its people are not ultimately to be relied upon by the government. And I think that China is far more likely to implode or explode than to pass the United States in any important way, no matter how much the Chinese leadership tries to move it forward, and no matter how much President Obama tries to move us backward. Thanks for watching.